In a world of abundance, it's hard to imagine that nearly 1 in 10 people go to bed hungry every night. Yet, that is the harsh reality of our global food crisis. The shelves in supermarkets overflow, food advertisements flood our screens, and yet, food insecurity continues to rise. What's really going on? At its core, the global food crisis is not simply a matter of supply. We produce enough food to feed over 10 billion people, more than the current global population. The problem lies in distribution, inequality, and systemic inefficiencies. Food doesn't reach those who need it most, due to political instability, poverty, poor infrastructure, and flawed global systems. One of the primary drivers of the food crisis is climate change. As temperatures rise and weather patterns become more extreme, crops fail, droughts lengthen, and floods become more frequent. In parts of Africa and Asia, entire farming communities are losing their livelihoods as the land becomes less arable. The result? Spiraling food prices, decreased production, and growing hunger. Next, we cannot ignore the impact of conflict and war. In countries like Yemen, Sudan, and Ukraine, war has devastated farmlands, displaced millions, and disrupted supply chains. When people are forced to flee their homes, agriculture halts, trade stops, and famine takes root. In war zones, food becomes a weapon, controlled, restricted, or destroyed. But it's not just war and weather. One of the silent killers in this crisis is food waste. Astonishingly, over 1.3 billion tons of food is wasted every year, almost a third of all produced food. In developed countries, much of it is discarded at the retail or consumer level. In developing nations, it's often lost before it even reaches markets due to lack of storage, refrigeration, and transport. The global food system is also heavily dependent on fossil fuels for transportation, fertilizer, packaging, and more. As energy costs rise, so do the costs of food production and distribution. Add to that the growing demand for biofuels, which sometimes divert crops away from food and into fuel, and the balance becomes even more precarious. But there is hope. Around the world, innovators, scientists, and communities are developing powerful solutions. Vertical farming and hydroponics are reducing water use and maximizing yields. AI and data analytics are helping farmers optimize planting and harvests. Grassroots organizations are connecting local producers to consumers and redistributing excess food to those in need. Governments and global organizations must invest in sustainable agriculture, create safety nets for the vulnerable, and address climate change with urgency. It's also up to each of us to reduce food waste, support responsible food brands, and demand systemic change. The global food crisis is complex but solvable. It's not just about growing more, it's about growing smarter, sharing better, and acting faster. Because if we fail to fix our food systems, we won't just be feeding fewer people, we'll be feeding conflict, collapse, and chaos.